Hello everyone. Recently I wanted to make a leather pencil case. Not this one. I made this 2 years ago. Pretty simple design, easy to make. But now I want to make a new one with a more refined looking, larger capacity, and a zipper. Since this is a rather small project, I think I can maybe try something new and give myself a little bit of a challenge, adding some fun. For this project, I plan to start by designing the patterns and keep recording until the final product. And I am going to share the whole process with you. There are tons of silent leather crafting videos on the internet, but very few explain how to start a leather project from the drawing board. In this video, I will focus on the making of the patterns rather than the crafting process itself. Of course, if making patterns make you bored, I will also upload a silent making video separately as my next video. Okay, let's get started. The first step was to look for some reference pictures online. Since I am not a professional leather craftsman, sometimes getting inspiration from the internet is quite an efficient way to start. Then I saw this one. It has a zipper, check, and for the structure, the connecting inner piece seemed a little bit tricky to start with. Otherwise, I do like the overall look of this pencil case. Okay, let's make this one. Then, you need a rough sketch to start with. It looks pretty much like this. As we can see, it takes 3 pieces to form the whole bag. The zipper piece, the outer shell, and the connecting piece that holds everything together. The connecting piece, or inner piece for short, obviously carries the most information. Its inner edge connects to the zipper piece, while the outer edge is sewn directly to the outer shell. As long as we figure out this piece, we have complete 90% of the task. For someone who may not be familiar with this structure, I don't know the specific name of this sewing method. If anyone knows it, please write it down in the comments below. I draw a cross-section view here. What makes it different is adding an extra connecting strap between the 2 pieces of leather. It is a very clever design because it is not only sturdy but also looks much better. Usually, the connecting piece is nothing but a simple leather strap, but in this case, a leather strap cannot be nicely bent like this. So what we need is a piece which looks like a ring, more specifically, a rectangular ring with rounded corners. Okay, we start from the zipper piece. As we all see, the width of this piece is roughly the width of the whole case, and the length. Through the side view image, we can see that it combines 2 walls and the roof. The length of the roof is the length of the case, roughly, and it depends on the longest thing you want to put in. I choose 20 cm for the overall length of my project and 6 cm for the width. Last but not least, the length of 2 walls are the height of the case. I choose the number 5 as it is slightly shorter than the width. Let's do a simple calculation, which is 20 plus 5 plus 5 equals 30 cm. Keep that in mind that the result is not the exact number we want. It is the number we start with. Why is that? I will explain it later in the following steps. At this point, I want to introduce you a simple measurement technique, which I call it the counting holes method. We all use our leather chisels or pricking irons to punching holes for our stitches, but you can also use them to do some measuring tasks. I personally have several sets of chisels, but I am going to use this set today. Since we have the zipper piece already figured out, let's cut it out on the cardboard. Because of its symmetrical shape, I only need half of it. In the video, you may see that my template ended with a dotted line. That is the assuming overall length of the zipper piece. It needs some micro adjustment later. Marking the center line and use the divider to mark out the stitching line. I like to leave 3.5 millimeter as my seam allowance. I put a semicircle shape at the ends. Then we bring out the 2-teeth chisel and start marking. I always mark the center line point as 0. Our assuming height was 5 centimeter, so I draw another dotted line there. Then I count 13 holes when I almost reach at the dotted line and mark letter A at this hole. Then you tracing it on another piece of paper on a straight line. Mark the 0 and the A just we do on the zipper piece. Yes, this piece will become the inner piece later. Okay, back to the zipper piece. I left a gap here on purpose because we need a rounded edge to make the transition part smooth, which means we have to put a curve on the inner piece, and this curve must be a quarter of circle to complete the 90-degree turn. These are my rounded cardboard templates. I made them for some previous projects, but you really don't have to. Any coins, bottle caps, bearings will work too, as they are all precisely machining parts. I tried 3 of them and I'm quite happy with the middle one. Then I took out the 2-teeth chisel again, count 6 at the end of the arc, mark letter B at this hole. Then from this point on, all we have is nothing but a long straight line. All the way goes to another point B. Because I only have half of it, next step for me was to find out the exactly center line of the overall length of this piece. Then we use the chisel which has the most teeth on it, place them head to toe, and count how many segments it takes to the dotted line. Mine was a 9-teeth chisel, 3 of them removed, 6 left. I count 4 segments here, plus 1 hole left, and mark letter C at this hole, C for center of course, and draw the actual center line, then tracing it to the inner piece, and don't forget to mark another C on that piece. Keep in mind, this line is not the edge of leather, it is the stitching line, so we need to draw the actual edge line on it. Now we have the inside edge done, let's do the outside edge. I choose 2 cm as the strap width of this inner piece. Draw 2 straight lines there. As to the transition part, I tried these 2 templates, and it appears that the number 6 template has the most suitable spacing. Now we have the inner piece almost done. All we left is to mirror it twice. At this point, I'm thinking that it would be such a waste to cut out the entire ring-shaped piece. So I decide to divide it into 2 pieces and cut the template out with the cardboard. I choose not to cut the ring shape out, but to keep it inside the template. There are 2 reasons for this. First, it is also the template of the outer shell. In this way, you don't have to make another one for the shell. Secondly, it will hold its shape better than a thin flappy strap. But the question is, how can we trace the inner edge to the leather? In fact, all we need are just these 4 holes and all the stitching holes between A to B. As to the remaining straight lines, we can just let our chisels do their job. As for these 2 small curves, you don't have to worry too much about them because they are located inside the case. As long as we finish the project, you will never see them again. As for our stitching holes of the outer edge, because we choose the 2-in-1 method, they will meet each other at this edge, and we cannot be sure whether the number of stitching holes on this side is a whole number. At this point, we definitely want this section has better consistency. Then we can mark our stitching start from here and it goes to both ends. If you get lucky, you may end up with a whole number, If not, you can use these methods to even out the spacing. Okay, we have finished this template now. Let's put it aside. Our last piece of the puzzle is to figure out the length of the zipper. In general, the longer the zipper, the easier it is to open the bag. In this project, the center of the semicircle looks like a good choice. For small bags of this size, I always use the YKK size number 5 zipper. When it comes to zippers, there are actually a lot of things I want to share with you, but I don't want to make this video an hour and a half long, so let's just focus on the template part today. As for all details of zippers, I will make another video to talk about it. Okay, back to our topic. For number 5 zippers, I usually use these two round hole punchers at both ends to let them look more refined. Of course, any suitable size coins will work too. I prefer to use the smaller one for double stitching, like on this bag, and the larger one for single stitching, like this one. For a pencil case, double stitching seems a bit overkill, so single stitch it is. I've seen many other patterns have their entire zipper slot cut out. There is no problem with this design, but unnecessary, because to position a zipper on the leather, all you need was just several holes, and let your ruler and the scratching all do the rest. Okay, we have finished all the templates. If you are still not happy with it, want to put some of your personal taste on it, whatever it is, now it is time. I choose to borrow some parts of the decorative stitching of this bag I made before. If you have followed me this far, thank you very much for your patience and apologies for my terrible English. If there is anything you don't understand, please tell me in the comment section below. At the very beginning of making this video, my idea was to put everything together into a long tutorial video, but as more and more content was added, I thought it would be better to separate it into several parts. In this way, you can choose whatever you want by yourself. Next video will be another talking video. I will talk about common mistakes and maybe some useful tips on installing zippers. Like I said at the beginning, I am not a professional leather craftsman. This is just one of my many hobbies. I like outdoor activities as well as making stuffs, like camping and motorcycle riding. If any of those things above interests you as well, you can hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss the following uploaded videos in the future. Okay, that's it for today. I wish you are happy crafting and most importantly, ride safe. Bye bye.